What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the LivBtr Podcast. I am your host, Siano, CEO of Sabre Advisors. On today's episode, I'm sitting down with the high-performance well-being coach, speaker, podcast host, and trusted advisor to some of the most successful entrepreneurs, leaders, and high-profile individuals out there, my friend, Kristy Kuhl. After an award-winning 15-year career in the medical device industry, where she led some of the most successful sales teams in the world, Kristy did something bold. She walked away from all that corporate success to create a life fully aligned with her truth. Now, through her private one-on-one coaching and group programs, Unleashed, she helps elite achievers unlock their next level by building unshakable self-trust, activating momentum, and designing lives that feel as good on the inside as they look on the outside. Let's get it started with my friend, Kristy.
I just wanna have peace. Pay for the bill, let them take my card, never see the receipt. Good health, we prize, but everybody around prosperity.
What's up, guys, and welcome to the LivBtr Podcast. This is your host, Siano, and this is the show for people trying to optimize every area of their life. Let's go.
I just wanna have peace.
Kristy Kuhl, welcome to the LivBtr Podcast. How are we doing today?
Amazing.
Amazing. Good. Welcome to New York City.
Thank you.
Tell my audience a little bit about yourself, because I'm going to use that to learn more than I know about you.
Sure. So, Cliff Notes, real quick, 30,000 foot view. I grew up in a one stoplight town in Ohio. And I had the tiger that was chasing me, that I was running away from, was financial freedom. And I knew I liked medicine, and I had this intrigue about business. And so I went to college, left at 17, went to college, got a pre-med undergrad.
Where?
Bowling Green State University.
Okay.
Like an hour from home.
Okay.
Enough.
Yeah, so you didn't leave that far. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then, but I knew I wanted to do something outside of business or outside of medicine. So I got an MBA right away. And at that point in my life, I'm 44 now. So at like 17, 18. A little bit. I thought, you know what? I want to be in the operating room, helping physicians with technologies and advancing healthcare. And so,
amazing.
I had my sights set on being an operating room rep, and I landed on it. Johnson & Johnson moved me to Madison, Wisconsin, which is like the coldest place on earth. Day one on the job, brand new car. The thermostat said negative 26, and I was married at the time. And I called my husband, and I'm like, I didn't want to buy a new car. And I went to the dealership to buy a certified pre-owned,
okay.
but it wasn't
That's a
certified.
hack, by the way.
It wasn't certified.
That's a hack. And we were talking a little bit about cars.
I drive off the lot,
certified
and I'm like,
pre-owned,
thinking that I'm duped.
Yeah.
Here I am. I had to buy a brand new car because the one that I went to buy, and I have to go to work tomorrow, and I'm brand new, and the thermostat says negative 26. And I called them, and I'm like, dude, like, and he's like, are you okay? I said, yeah, but the car says negative 26. He says, so does my truck. And I'm like, oh. Okay, this is where I moved this to. Okay, have a great day.
Wow.
Right? So in your 20s, you do that stuff, and I was climbing the ladder, and I moved quickly over a couple years into my career to a company called Intuitive Surgical, and that's where the game just completely flipped for me. And so that was disruptive technologies, and so that was like introducing the first iPhone into the medical world, where the surgeon's not at the sterile field. We put him in the corner, and he's in this big console, this $2 million robot, and he looks like he's playing a video game.
What year is this?
2011. We revolutionized the way that healthcare was delivered. And
Amazing.
So for the first time, it's like the sales rep and the medical team is telling the CEOs and the surgeons how all of this is going to work, every single piece of it. And it worked, and we flipped all of the insurance companies, and most importantly, we delivered healthcare in a different way. So if you think about delivering technology that allowed procedures to be done in places of the body that were hard to reach and deemed inoperable, or we can get there, but we're gonna leave you differently on the other side of this, where you're not going to be the same. Prostatectomy is an example. They could get the prostate out, but you're left a certain way afterwards.
Right.
And so,
as a result of the surgery,
a regular surgery,
intrusive it is, basically.
Big, that particular procedure has the nickname of the rip and tug, because you can't see, so they just go in and and then you're like, okay, there's potency and incontinence issues, but hey, we saved your life.
Yeah.
So did we really? Right? We took so much away from you. And so once I had that skill set, then all these companies wanted us, because nobody was doing that in healthcare. And so I left Intuitive at some point, climbed the ranks, started leading teams, and I was underneath the best leadership, in my opinion, in the world, in that company and anything that I had been exposed to so far. And so that was better than any personal development that I could have done at that time, because I'm in the trenches getting real-time coaching and having to do it. And then I went to a startup in Long Island that had another disruptive technology.
Long Island, New York?
Yep. And then I landed in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is where I told all my friends in college I was going. And they moved there. I didn't know I was going to be in sales. I chased my career to Wisconsin, but the last stint I had in corporate was at a company, 3D mammography. Okay. And so same thing, disruptive technologies. Typical mammograms take 2 images of the breast. A lot of things can hide in that. And so this technology sliced the breast tissue a 1 millimeter thickness. So instead of going from reading like 1 image, 2 images, they may be reading 300. But at that level of precision, you can find breast cancers, at the difference between life and death 18 months earlier, and get ahead of it. And, sometimes
days count.
Really does. Yeah. And so had a great run, and I felt like I achieved what I set out to achieve, which was this financial freedom as best as I had it defined. But my entry point into personal development, I went to a Tony Robbins conference, then went to another one, then started hanging with these platinum partners. And I realized that I thought all this stress that I had and the no sleep and, I was in sometimes 3 cities in a week.
Was
and
it badge of honor?
Badge of honor. And I also thought that it came with that level of income. And then I got in rooms with people that had like 100x the income. And I looked at them and I'm like, dude, they're having fun. They're sleeping through the night. And so then I realized it was like the mirror. I'm like, this is a Kristy issue. I don't have the right tools. And so I reached financial freedom in my mind at that point as I had it defined, but I didn't realize that peace and joy and happiness should have been part of that too,
Of course.
Yeah.
That's at the end of the day, like the money is just one component to happiness, right?
Yeah.
And there's that old adage that, we all know people with, tens and hundreds of millions of dollars that are miserable. And it's true. There's people that just truly, are focused on, but everybody's different, right? So to each their own.
Yeah. And, I think that the lights come on for people at different times.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't ever come on all the way. And that's okay. I feel so blessed that the lights came on. Like they really came on I went through a divorce at 34. And that's how I found personal development, because I noticed that I had a picking problem. So when I started dating again, I was like, man, I'm doing it again, right?
How did you know that your marriage wasn't working? So this is the LivBtr Podcast, right? So for me, I just really want to understand people's lives and, when they come to inflection points, how they choose to which road to take and things of that nature. And I don't know how much you share about these things.
I am so my brand, my whole, which is just simply my identity. My brand is simply who I am, and I'm on a mission to show people what it actually looks like.
Yeah.
And most of it is not pretty, right? It's you see the highlight reel on social media, but
totally.
The truth is, Jason, the honest to God truth is, there was a point before I got married that I was like, man, I don't think this is my guy. And I was running off of and so you're scrapping for the definitions of success, right? And
totally.
And you start looking over here and I remember people in my family even saying, well, gosh, he's going to make such a great dad. And I'm like, he will. And man, he's so supportive of your career. And I'm like, he is, right? And gosh, he cooks dinner. And I'm like, this is amazing, right? But there was something that I just could not put my finger on. I couldn't.
But when you were a child, were the qualities that your husband had the qualities that you envisioned in your prince later in life? Or were you on some level, when you wanted to take that step and settle down and get married, did you convince yourself maybe a little bit more that he was the person than maybe your gut would have told you, even at that point?
Yeah, I do believe that the qualities. I was like, wow, it's like beyond paper thing. I'm like, wow.
How long did you date before you got engaged?
Well, a long time.
Long time.
Yeah, so probably 6-7 years because I met him. I was getting my MBA and he was the captain of the football team.
That makes sense.
Right.
And you guys were both super young. That's a big part.
I was 20, so I finished my MBA at 22.
Wow.
So I met him when I was 20, and then we didn't get married until like later 20s.
Yeah,
and so as we're getting...
That's still young.
It is young.
It's young.
And so I'm running off of this definition of success that
right.
In a lot of areas.
And especially coming from a town with one traffic light.
Yeah.
I think everybody's definition of success definitely attaches on some level to their environment, right, and what they see and what's customary. For me, 100%, right? Like I was the last person in my peer group to get married, and I still think I got married pretty young.
Yeah. How old were you?
Shit, I think I think I'm married 14 years, so, and I'm 48.
Okay.
34.
Yeah.
Had my first son at 35. Yeah, that makes sense.
But I feel, again, if the lights
to somebody
are on,
that I've known since middle school, but we didn't date. We didn't, it was. I was a bad boy for time.
Yeah. Most are.
Yeah.
But
there's that.
The period for a period of time, right? And then you kind of learn to get a handle on all that stuff.
You hope
and
so.
So I will say my instincts told me that there was some, but I couldn't put any words to it. I really couldn't. It was just a gut feeling. But so on paper,
did some of it have to do with your actually being happy within yourself too, like the decision to ultimately part ways? Like, is it?
So basically, what happened was, so he had childhood trauma.
Okay.
Don't
we all?
Yes.
Some worse than others.
Agreed.
But yeah.
Agreed.
Okay.
Yes. True. Very true statement. And what was introduced to him at a very young age turned into an addiction that crossed boundaries of integrity and infidelity and all these things. So I had a decision to make once I found out about it and realized, is this person going to seek help? Is he going to seek help? Is he not going to seek help? Is he serious? And is this something I can live with? Is this, because that topic is very, and I'm like, it's one thing to think about controlling alcohol or drugs, but this idea of sexual addiction is like, that's what are they thinking about that? And at the same time, it was such a blow to me because truth and honesty and integrity are so critically important. He did me a favor because he wasn't my guy.
Yeah.
So that moment, and that's that again, all these moments really shape who I am now and how loud I am about, like, you can change your mind whenever you want to.
Yeah.
And there was this part of me that I believe was instilled from childhood that, like, I gave you my word that I wanted to do this when we moved in together years before we got married. And there's these stupid things sometimes that we hold ourselves to.
Sure.
And what I realized in my 20s is I'm now exposed to so much that people are seeing me and a lot of things that I suppressed. And so now I have these people that I respect that see me and a lot of things that was suppressed at a young age that now I'm like, no, that's my superpower. No, right? And so now now I just did this, and which really allowed the gap to be wider and allowed me to see. And it wasn't that I was comparing him to others. It was just that I started to see myself differently too and get more sure that I don't think that this is the right thing. But again, I still don't have words for it. Now I have all the words for it.
Right,
like there was no spark, like that the attraction was not there.
Yeah.
And that's enough. Like that's, and I don't care what anybody says. If that's not enough for me, it's not enough for me.
Yeah.
And that's my definition of relationship. So, that's what I feel like when you start to grow and really get confident in yourself, like you don't give a shit what anybody says.
Yeah.
You don't look left, you don't look right. Like I do for counsel. And I do when I'm trying to figure something out. But at the end of the day, nobody knows me better than me. Nobody knows my finances, my situation, my insecurities, right? And so if you can just be really honest with yourself and know that you know what's best for you and shut everybody else out, easier said than done, Now that's the mission that I'm on. When you look at my branding and my program, like my group coaching program, Unleashed, there's so many, and same with me. We're trying to do what we think that we're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. We're not getting any younger, right? So at the end of the day, again, like for me, happiness is everything, right? If I'm not happy, like that's what I need to focus on. Like what's off? Where can I, and to your point, only I can choose and figure out what happy means to me, right? And it's going to be different from you and different from everybody else. So if you're able to really, peel back the onion and get to know yourself really, 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 really well, regardless of whether you're single or married, right? We're all independent humans that are walking this planet. Yep. And the minute that you're not aligned with yourself, it's a scary place. I've been there for sure, pivotal moment for me. What about yourself? Have you ever, and you pretty much alluded to this already, but have you been in a place where you haven't been happy with yourself and decided that you're going to kind of wage war on yourself and do the hard things that are going to help you become the person that you want to be? Like, were you super mindful about that? You help other people now, and we'll get into that, but for you, like, what was that moment for you?
Yeah, so it really was, the divorce, what came to light, I had a decision to make and I made a decision. The divorce was not my fault per se because of what had happened in his life, but I had a decision to make. And when I started going to personal development, like I said, Tony Robbins was my entry point. And in sheer honesty, I realized that I wasn't picking more sex addicts, but I was picking more narcissists, and I'm like, all right, like I have a pattern I can see, and that's a thing that you should notice, patterns in other people. I feel like we can teach children to notice patterns in other people and themselves too, like you can start to predict the future based off of that.
It's also challenging when you're attracted to a certain type of individual, right? Like innately. Again, just attraction is important, right? Yeah. So like there's a certain type that you're going to be attracted to, and trying to rewire yourself to be attracted to things you're not necessarily attracted to is not an easy or fulfilling thing either.
Right. And it's well said. And then to really understand, like, what part of this am I attracted to? Right. What part of it, and where can I find the safe space for me that still has those parts, that edgy part, right? The high-powered, the edgy part, but does he understand how to leverage his darkness? Does he understand? Because that exists for all of us. And A, are you aware? Yeah. B, is it out of your system? Have you had help? What is it? Because it doesn't mean that it's women. It could be gambling. It could be, the ego
Insert
presents
anything here,
right? Shopping, numbing, whatever it may be. And so I think really being honest with myself about where I'm at so to answer your question, when I found Tony Robbins, I had heard him talk about rewiring this woman's brain who felt like depressed and anxious. And he's like, all I did was and I was like, I just need him to do that to me, and when I got in the rooms, it was like the third time I heard him say success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. Yeah. And like it was, when they say when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Well, I had heard the teacher say it 3 times, but the student wasn't ready. And that day, it was as if he was talking to me, and it was a bolt of lightning to the chest. And I was like, oh. And that's the moment I got real. Yeah. That I got real with myself, because it's like, again, nobody I'm showing what I want people to see.
Totally.
Right? And I'm hiding what I want people not to see.
Of course.
And so if I really want this thing to change, I need to get really honest with myself. Whether I tell other people or not doesn't matter. But I need to make sure that I'm looking at myself and start to work on those things. And so that's what I realized, like even in a relationship, I don't know if I know how to be a good wife, right? So like when I get in the next relationship and I did some of Tony's work and some others, like, okay, what is this supposed to look like? Because what I was doing was not right. It didn't lead to the end of the marriage, but it surely could lead to the end of the next one if I found the right guy. Yeah. And so I think that was the pivotal moment of me realizing that the only way anything is going to change is if I get to brutal honesty. Yeah. Brutal honesty with myself. Yeah. And when I see people that come into my world, whether it's a high profile one-on-one client or it's, my group coaching program. It doesn't matter, there's a few things components that go into the speed at which somebody transitions and starts to, line everything up to the peace, joy, and happiness, and the success and the results and and the journey's never over. But that's a major component, is getting to that brutal honesty.
Do you look at life as seasons and chapters and actually think about where you'd like to be in 10 years and reverse engineer how to get there?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's that is so important. I use that language a lot of what do you want for this season of life? Because I feel like that's where I ended up building a life that I didn't want to show up for anymore.
Yeah.
And marriage aside, in corporate America, I just realized that, after the marriage ended, my life's pretty lonely.
Yeah.
And here I am, planes, trains, automobiles, and I got this thing on paper. And it wasn't necessarily the money that was feeding the ego. It was the fact that I was thriving in an environment that nobody could survive in. Mm-hmm. That was, again, brutal honesty. I was like, I like being the one that can do that.
Yeah, of course.
And then I'm like, what do I want for this next season of life, though? And the biggest thing that I had to unravel was just letting go of the money for a minute.
Yeah.
And I knew I'd build it all back.
Yeah.
But I had to let go of it for a minute and kind of tell myself the story. I know how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to do that. That's just that's a switch that gets flipped on. But let me figure out how to have peace and joy and happiness and really love being with myself.
What season are you in?
Yeah.
How would you describe the season you're in now?
It's I have a very small circle, and it's interesting when you see what happens in your body when you're around the wrong people and how you feel, and even just like how your breath changes. And when I was in corporate America, I'd get this pain in my shoulder, and I went to physical therapy for 2 years, and then when I quit corporate, I didn't go to physical therapy, and I ran into my physical therapist, and he said, "Where have you been?" And I was like, "I quit my job." And he's like, "I knew it." And I'm like, "Why'd you tell me?" I said, "It wasn't even real, but there's this thing that you do,
Totally.
And so I'm in a season of life where I am not searching for any acceptance because I've accepted myself fully. There's nothing that I feel like I have to prove to the world. I just want to continue to be myself and see the beautiful things that are attracted in. The community and the relationships that I create are absolutely everything. And the fact that I get to use everything that I've learned on myself to help others on their journey too. But it's not for the dollar, I think, I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you're like, I don't even want to work with these people.
Oh, pretty frequently.
Not even my group coaching. If I feel for a second that I don't even want to show up to something that I created, I'm like, dude, why did you say yes? Was it a money thing? Was it a numbers thing? Was that an ego thing?
That's a luxury though, right? To be able to actually operate that way, you have to get to a certain place that you could even say no.
Yeah.
Or at least, for me, my life was built on clients I didn't want to work with.
Oof, yeah, and same.
Right?
Same.
It's, hey, you have for me, it was like a light switch where it was, everything was kind of taken care of in life, and I had a great childhood and everything else. And then it was just all ripped away. And it was like, okay, best of luck, kid. So when that happens, it's kind of like, oh shit, how do I figure out how to eat? Right? So it kind of takes you through a process of really needing, in my experience, having to do things that you don't necessarily want to do to hopefully get to a place that you could do the things you want to do, right? So, and at my age, I'm happy to be able to say that I'm closer.
Yeah.
I'm not there. I don't think I'll ever arrive.
I don't think people like us ever arrive because we're always tweaking. We're always looking. I mean, I'm looking at my health. Go. You're looking at your health. I watch your stories. You're such an inspiration. And
Thank you.
I want to feel as best as I can every single day. I believe that at any given period of time, I can be somebody's moment. And if I don't show up at my best, I can't so be, well said. Jay. If I drank last night, I'd wake up with anxiety. I probably wouldn't work out. I feel like I'm behind the 8 ball. I'm not going to show up and be somebody's moment.
You worked out this morning?
I worked out this morning. I did shoulders and abs, and I rode the bike.
Well, so what does your workout routine look like? What is your just in general, like what do you subscribe to? What do you do to stay healthy?
Heavy weights.
You do?
Heavy weights.
Love that.
Yeah. I mean, it's the only way for me to have, I'm built like a green bean. Naturally I'm built like a green bean, and so for me to have, and now I understand the importance of having muscle and skeletal muscle, but it was all driven by the way
Shout out
that
Dr. Gabrielle Lyon.
Yes. The way that it makes me feel. Yeah. And that's such an important thing that people shouldn't discredit that. If looking a certain way makes me feel a certain way, why in the hell would I not prioritize that?
Totally.
Why would I not dress a certain way? Why would I not get up and do my hair, put my makeup on? So heavy weights for sure. And I do burn boot camp as well. That's always that's a challenge, and just seeing the heart rate come up. Yeah. And I had lunch with Brian Benstock yesterday, and Brian started running marathons at 46, and I'm 44, and it's crazy how that just popped into my head recently.
Yeah, mine too.
And I was like, Brian, is this what happens? Like, is this the next chapter? Like, I love hanging out with people that are way smarter and older than me and have done so much. And I'm like, is this what happens? Like, because I really feel like this is the next challenge that I want to put myself into, is running a marathon. My neighbor is an Ironmaner. She's a freaking powerhouse. And so
you're going to do it. You're going to do a marathon.
I just did. And this is what happens. I notice when I start talking about something, it's like, if I'm talking about it, it's happening.
100%.
It's usually an out-of-body experience. And so, the
it's
question
also,
you asked,
it's not to cut you off, but it's also, that has been like accountability through social media for me has been so therapeutic. It's crazy. Like, and people, I understand why people, do speak so negatively about things on social media. Of course, there's that side of it. But for me, just like holding myself accountable and like the digital community around me being like, dude, I noticed you didn't run 2 miles in the last like month and a half, right? Like just on my checklist, right? Yeah. And it's just funny because like when someone says that, I'll like in the next few days definitely make sure that I do it, and I'll like tag them. I'll be like, screw you.
Yeah.
Like, I
did it. Look,
of course. And it's just
receipt.
Because we're wired that way, right?
Yeah. But I like that you do that because it's like, again, people want to know what it really looks like. And I feel like social media is such a great way to show people what it really looks like. Like this is what a day could really look like. Here's where your optics are. Like you're not focused on everything. Here's the things like on a really busy day that you're checking the boxes on.
It's not perfect. That's the beauty of it, right? Yeah. It's just it's perfectly inconsistent, but the discipline of checking as many boxes as I can that day, it's there.
Yeah.
But it's not always possible.
Yeah.
I didn't work out this morning. It's very, very rare.
Yeah. How do you feel right now?
I see the badge of honor stuff, right? Like the grind hustle mode, all that. Like I'm so hardwired from doing that so many years that I convinced myself that if I don't work out first thing in the morning, I'm going to have a terrible day. I feel fine.
Yeah,
is the answer,
well,
right?
Because toughness, though.
Yeah, and it's the realization that I'm in a season where I give myself grace. And I realize like the hard work that I do on the hard days carries over. I could easily not work out and it's not going to have any impact on my life. I can't easily not work out for 2 days in a row or 3 days, right? Like I'd go nuts. But I think it's a good thing for me to do, right? Like it's a good thing because the intermittent fasting that I did for so long, I'm trying to break that while people think it's difficult to do. I'm actually now trying to like unwind all of that because this season for me is, I want to put on muscle. I want to, there's things that I want to do that are challenging, especially when you're wired as a fat kid, right? So like for me, it's the working out. I'm the opposite of a green bean or a string bean.
You're the apple
I'm
without
a meatball.
trying, or you're a meatball.
I'm a bulldog. I'm a meatball. We all struggle with our own things and insecurities, and always will.
But I love that like this is your definition. Like you understand all the things are out there, and but this is what's best for you, and this is what was best for you today. And that's
it's what's best for the people around me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And let's dig into your work and your coaching. Coaching's tough.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
Like people all, see coaches that are really successful and I think don't realize what it takes to be a good coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
You agree? I mean, it's super draining from an energy perspective, right? Like, cause you're a therapist, you're really helping people and you don't know who you're going to meet, like there's to your point, there's dark people.
Yeah.
And when you're surrounded with darkness, it's, it has an impact on your own energy too.
Yeah. 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 So, I think there's good and bad in every field and no matter what you're doing, right? I worked with surgeons for a number of years. I saw a lot of things with coaches, speakers, et cetera. Yeah. And so, I think that the only thing that I can pride myself on is who I am and making myself the best version of myself and all of this. So when I left corporate, I didn't know what I was going to do.
Yeah.
And what I knew I needed to do was unwind from these platinum handcuffs. Like it was, like I said, it was the definition of who I was and what I could do. And I'm like, all right, like I could tell. I started writing blogs about why corporate America is not for me, trying to make myself unemployable because I didn't trust myself. I'm like, dude, somebody's going to call with an offer and I'm going to be like, that's going to be a quick, right?
Yeah. Get a face tattoo.
Oh.
I mean, come on, make this easier.
I mean, yeah, seriously, right? Just right here.
There you go.
And
I think that
make
would
it
look
really
amazing.
political, something, right?
Yeah. If you really want to be unemployable, let's go. I'll help. We'll write a book of that.
Man, you got some great ideas. I'm going to call you next time.
Creative.
Yeah. And so, I was flying in the front of the plane and just striking up conversations with people. And somebody would have an issue, and I'm like, "Hey, have you thought about this? Have you tried that?" And they're like, "No." And so before you know it, I like had my first gig, and I'm like, I don't even know what I am. Am I like a consultant? And am I an advisor? Am I right? So then it stemmed over from the owner to like their executive team, and and so like I'm just navigating in the space. I'm 6+ years outside of corporate.
Wow.
So I was doing that and I'd watch I'm getting all these reps in and I'm realizing that like it was no different than coaching teams in corporate.
Sure.
The difference is I had to keep them straight and narrow and we couldn't open a lot of doors because I had to keep we had a job that we had to get done.
Right.
Now I can focus holistically on the person, and so I'm getting all these reps in and I started to realize that there's a message here and I do things in a certain way. And I'm just me, and there's truth, integrity, and I felt like that needed to be out more. But then I thought to myself, like, I'm afraid to design a life that I don't want to show up for again. Meaning, if I start speaking and I start doing, does that mean I'm in hotels by myself again? Like we asked before, what's this next season? I really want a relationship. I really want that. I've done so much work on myself. I'm ready. It's not that I haven't been looking. It's just it's a full-time job too, looking for the right.
We also have deservedly, I'm sure, high standards, I would hope.
Yeah, and I have very high standards and trying to get like those things, like you said, those things that I'm attracted to, the good without the bad, and I want to be me, and I can be a lot to a lot of people too, sure, right?
Which is intimidating.
And so for me to be able to like, the right person that comes into my life, like, that polarity shifts. That I'm full feminine, I throw all that other stuff down if the right person comes in the door, sure, right? Like I sit down.
Yeah.
I sit down. And so that's the season I'm in, and I'm like, man, I don't want to end up designing another life that's going to block me from that, and it's going to take away from all the things that I love to do. And even like Jay, getting a full night's sleep and being hydrated, going to the bathroom all these little things people don't realize.
It's everything.
Again, like
rhythm.
I'm in the sauna every night.
Nice.
I live in this full service building, and I'm like, I got this ecosystem I created, and I know what it looks like to be on the other side of it. Totally. And so I thought, like,
Chaos.
how can I, and it doesn't take much to get that out of balance, and then everything is off. So I was in the space of just like word of mouth, here and then here and then here. And then this past year, I'm like, all right, am I going to do this? Like, am I going to kind of come out and start talking? I launched my podcast and, just started getting on some stages. And
do you enjoy speaking?
Love it.
Yeah,
I love it. And the reality, like, I'm on such a mission to show people what it really looks like. I don't talk about anything that I don't do.
Yeah.
And I believe that this space is in need of people that walk the walk.
Yeah.
And that say, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not the person for that. Here's some things I've done. Here's what's worked, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, people
That's
like
one of the
you,
biggest lessons I learned in business early.
Yeah.
Right? Like I learned that from Starbucks coffee. And they would bait you, as a young person representing Starbucks, they would intentionally bait me on questions, along the way while we're touring real estate or whatnot.
Yeah.
And I fell into the trap as a kid, and I touched the stove,
Yep.
and I learned real fast, you are way better off saying, I don't know, but I'm going to find out.
Yeah, I'm going to figure it out.
That's the number one, just being operating with integrity and transparency.
And that's real. That's what it really looks like. And
Yeah.
I feel like you think about these people that are taking these anti-anxieties, it's like you don't have to know it all. But work your ass off to figure it out.
Totally.
But saying you know something and you don't, your body knows the truth.
Totally.
So you see people that are having panic
You're not
attacks or they're not
congruent.
sleeping, you're not congruent. And so
Have you ever had a panic attack?
Yes.
Yeah.
One time.
Yeah, me too.
One time when I was and it was before I found out what was happening in my relationship. And it scared the shit out of me.
It puts everything in perspective, right?
And you realize, like, your body
not in
knows
control.
you're not in control.
That's a scary thought.
Like that.
I do what I do every day to not have a panic attack again.
Right?
That's my goal.
Yeah.
That was a season for me. That was, it was crazy.
Yeah, it is.
And you feel for people that, that suffer with that stuff.
Yeah, you really do. And I find in the work that I do, I believe that less than 5% of people are in alignment. When I was figuring this out last year, I was sitting next to, I don't know if you know who Todd Herman is.
I don't.
Todd Herman wrote The Alter Ego Effect. He worked with Kobe to create Black Mamba.
Oh, I know. Yeah, okay.
And he lives in Canada, and he's a New Yorker as well. And I sat next to him at a VIP event, and I'm like, dude, I didn't know who I was sitting next to. And then when I did, I'm like, I got to ask him something.
Yeah, totally.
And I really appreciate his style. And I said, and I was trying to figure this out last year. I knew it, and this is, I'm still on my journey too.
Yeah,
and I'm like, why am I looking for validation for other people? And I feel like I'm getting so much further to be like, I don't give a shit, I just know. But I had said, how many people do you think are living in alignment? And he said, completely in alignment? And I said, yeah. And he goes, less than 5%. I said, me too. And he said, is that what you do? And I said, yeah. And so, I launched this group coaching program. So I started coaching high profile people and CEOs, and I've opened the door in Nashville, and I just look for good people that I know I have the tools and the resources to help them see themselves and make decisions. And I was like, this message needs to get bigger. I need to help more people. And so I launched this 12-week group coaching program called Unleashed, and the first 4 weeks is all alignment. And then I layer in all my high performance strategies because, listen, I'm still going after it. I still have that itch.
I would hope so.
I can't turn it off.
Make you feel alive.
I can't turn it off.
Yeah.
But the high performance stuff I've had for 20 years, and it works. Mm-hmm. But I didn't have the peace and the joy and the happiness because I was out of alignment.
Right.
And so
you're Nashville based?
No, Charlotte based.
Charlotte based.
Charlotte based, yeah. And so when what I have found, and I know to be true, is that the vast majority of people their definition of success is not theirs. It was very much like mine. And so I show them it is major deep discovery through a few very specific exercises that show them and validate who they are, and it blows their mind. And some of them are so far away from, the conditioning has been so heavy that it's almost a shock. The vast majority of them, no. And we know that we know. Mm-hmm. We know that we know, but yet we think that we got to do it like her or like this, or right? It's like, no, you know. And so the first 4 weeks is really just getting people connected to themselves. Then I layer high performance habits, and then the last 4 weeks, like we're running and they're unleashed.
Yeah.
And it is so cool, and it's really the coolest part for me, and the most heartwarming part is now asking people for testimonials, and like the common theme is they say they trust themselves. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's it. That is it. If I can just help people trust themselves instead of wondering, am I on the right path? Is this right for me? Oh, I should, again, you should seek counsel. Mm-hmm. You should seek counsel, but then bring it back like to your compass and go, okay, should I do this? Mm-hmm. Should I not do this? Just to have people have that peace of knowing like, okay, I'm here. They stop scrolling. They stop looking, and they just focus now on whatever it is they want to do and getting better. Yeah. And that is the greatest reward that I could ever have. And it doesn't matter what level I'm coaching on. Yeah. That is it.
Yeah. I mean, you're really having an impact on changing lives. I mean, that's when done properly, that's the outcome.
That's what it should be. I interviewed a death doula on my podcast when I first launched it last year. She lived in my building, and I walked by her, and I was like, she just had this like aura and energy, and before you know it, I'm following behind. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, wait, I think you're stalking, Kristy. And so I invited her for coffee. I started following her on social media, and I'm like, tell me how this whole thing works. How many journeys have you been on? And she said over 1,000. And I said, okay, what are the questions? What are they thinking? Right? Like I always want to know, because then you start acting differently. Mm-hmm. And the patterns, the consistencies. And I said, how many good deaths have you seen? And she said 2. And I said, what's a good death? And she said, I walked in the house and you just knew. And you just knew. I said, what'd you know? And she said, like it was like there was so much joy and peace. These people left nothing on the table. Nothing on the table. And I said, okay, tell me about the other, over 1,000 that in your opinion was not a good death. And I said, what are they thinking? What do they say? And she's like, here you are. You can't get back out of bed. Like you can't there's no more one more time. So all the regret is rushing. And I said, okay, why? What's the regret from? And she said, fear. I'm like, right, we know this, right? Okay, but why? Why? And she said, fear. I said, is it failure? And she said, that's the number 2. The number 1 is the fear of what other people are going to think. Yeah. And I'm like, so here you are on your deathbed, realizing all the things you just didn't try because you're worried about what somebody else thinks. And the reality of it is, Jason, nobody really gives a shit. And if they give that much of a shit, it's because they're caught in their own shit.
Of course.
Right? And so I am
Or they don't have enough shit going on.
They don't have enough shit going on.
They care more about your shit.
Yeah, exactly, right? And I find that like when you're, if like you say on a scale of 1 to 10, on a good day, I feel like a 9. Am I going to reach up and go after that person or, have a conversation with you when who I believe like you're up here and I'm here, I really respect you for so many reasons, but am I going to do that if I feel like a 4? No, it's way out of reach, right? And so here we are listening to all the 4s who are trying to bring us down to their level because they're reaching for the 2s and they're surrounded by 2s because it makes them feel better.
Sure.
Right? So it's like, no.
It's human nature, unfortunately, right?
It is. But for us, it's common sense, right? Like there is no other way. And I just want people to see that I want you to live full out and I want you to go for it. And it doesn't mean anything other than you tried if it didn't work out.
So what are in the last 6 years post-corporate, what are the most interesting things that have arrived in your life as a result of the work that you're doing, both on yourself and obviously helping others?
Yeah.
What are some ways that, there has to be some things that you're even surprised about that have happened as a result of living congruently and, being surrounded by people that are, ahead of you, et cetera.
Yeah. It's I'm still surprised at the way that I'm perceived by other people, and I think part of that is the childhood conditioning, right? And I never felt understood. Mm-hmm. I always felt misunderstood, And then, there's a number of reasons why that led to me feeling misunderstood. And a lot of it's still theory because it's my child and my child brain's interpretation of how I was perceived.
Mm-hmm.
And so.
Do looks come into play? Like, I was in my opinion, unattractive fat redhead. So like to me, insecurities come from places that you have experience in life.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, like for me, body dysmorphic disorder, like I almost walk past a mirror and don't recognize the person every day,
You're still the fat kid inside.
Yeah, 100%,
Yeah.
So for you, like, is there any part of like a struggle for you that stems from, childhood that
Looks-wise?
Yeah, or in general, just
looks-wise, no. I mean, I was a tomboy. I had a mullet in the second grade.
That's awesome.
Being a Midwestern gal, like we were raised to do all the hard work, getting our nails done and our makeup done, and I have eyelashes on today. Like all of that, it took me a while to just be like, no, this is the way that it is.
Yeah.
Like, people are really surprised if you hand me a gun or a 4-wheeler, like I know what to do with it.
I love that.
I totally when I go on these dates and then and then they say like, let's go to my mountain house and I'm like, yeah. And then they don't really understand. Yeah, I'm like, no, let's really go. Like, let's really go.
Yeah.
Let me. And then you hold back going like, why don't you try it this way? So it's not so much that.
Dumbing yourself down.
It's the brain.
Yeah.
It's the brain. And
are you too smart for your own good?
It's, I don't know. I think I'm a Virgo, so I think that I overthink to my own good, like that's such a freaking detriment.
Tough. Yes.
Such a detriment. But to just be like, have this conversation and be 100% myself, it took a long ass time to be that and to be able to show that I can be fun and I can be funny and I can be smart and I can dress this way and I can dress that way and it doesn't fucking matter. Like we're going to get the job done. Like, okay, I'm going to go into that mode and get the job done. And if I want to turn my brain off and have no idea where my phone is and ask everybody in the room, did I even bring it with me? Right? Like that's a piece of me too.
Of course.
So to be able to play full out, I think that's the part that took me a really long time. And then to see how people perceive that, it's like they're beyond intrigued. Mm-hmm. They're beyond intrigued that it's not just one dimensional.
Yeah.
And I look for spaces like that where I can, 100% be myself.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's the biggest lesson. And then to see how it's received, like the lunch meeting I had yesterday, hey, we want you to come on to be an advisor. And it's like, I'm just me. Yeah. I am just me. And then tapping in and going like, I don't have to do that if I don't want to. Do I want to do that? Like I have my own neutrality and my own compass and my own center, and it's not perfect, but I always have to ask myself, why would I want to say yes to this? Why would I want to say yes to this? Yeah. And to realize at the end of the day, this is my race, and that's the greatest gift I could give myself through all this. Do
you think that sometimes you say yes to things that you don't necessarily want to do?
Not anymore.
No.
No, not anymore. And there's all these things that I'm an introvert by nature. So when you talk about coaching and things being drained, every minute I spend with somebody, I'm going down. Every minute. It's like I wake up and my cell phone's at 100%. If I did all the things I'm supposed to do, if I'm dialed in, then I'm at 100. Yes. Every single text message I respond to, all the DMs people are, wanting to have conversations, circling around, interested in programs, intrigued, whatever it may be. Every single minute that I spend, I'm going down.
Do you interview your prospects where you
Oh, yeah.
There's a process.
Like when you say like is it draining? Like I don't get myself into draining situations,
No, it's good.
And the person has to have, like, there's certain components that have to be there before I say yes. And then I even think about, you've probably been in group coaching or masterminds or something, and you're like, I love the teacher, but like, these people. Yeah. And I may be, because I'm a Virgo and I'm a major overthinker, I may be overthinking some of these things, but I don't think I am, because, to me, that culture is everything. And if I have a group of 5 people versus 10 and 5 are like, then I'd rather have the 5, because now that makes me feel a certain way. I don't feel like I gave them their investment. And so everything I do is intentional. Every person I talk to is intentional. And there's a lot of things that I don't know why I'm saying yes, but I know instinctually that I'm supposed to be around that person, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Like I'll figure out the reason why, but if it's a no, it's a fucking hell no.
Yeah.
And I'd rather sit at home with my
That's
little dog
great.
in my
Yeah.
little oasis.
Yeah.
Now, I wish it was different. And
That's
I
a
had
superpower,
I
though.
kind of had to think about that too when I was dating. So there's these periods of life where it's like, man, I'm not finding Mr. Right. I'm not finding Mr. Right. Well, I want to go to dinner.
Yeah.
Right. And so then you say yes and you're like, oh, how do I get out of this now?
Yeah,
I don't want to
like,
be
like,
here. And I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I don't everything.
But are you not, maybe, there's an opportunity that might arise where somebody turns out to be way better.
I feel like I've flushed that out enough to
Okay.
know. So if it's like maybe an 80%, like I'm not sure,
Right,
I'll
you would go.
Versus I think what I'm trying to say is like,
Have you ever
I
been
know
on a
it's
date
no.
that the guy doesn't pay?
No.
Okay. I don't know what the dating scene's
No.
like, but I can only imagine what goes on out there. So.
Now, what do you think about that? You think
I think
you
that's
think
ridiculous.
you should split the bill?
No, I think
No?
that's crazy. I but I think, you see stuff and you hear stuff about men like showing up on dates without their wallets. These are not things I think about frequently, by the way, but
No, but
it's
a wild
it's
world.
a wild
It is
world. So
like
nothing
I don't
would
wish
surprise
it
me.
upon anybody
Yeah.
to be in
Yeah,
this
yeah.
because with the dating apps and listen, I'm all about condensing timelines.
Totally.
In certain
Efficiency,
places,
right?
in
It's
certain
like-
places, right? But these dating apps, and it's like there should be a process, and
They should be highly. There has to. I don't know anything about dating apps, but I'm sure there's places that are. But what does that even mean ultimately? It's because people can completely misrepresent themselves, and and there's no way to tell, like through a screening of a dating app, I would imagine.
No, but there's I don't think there's any harm in having a conversation before you actually go meet somebody or having a Zoom or having
It's
a
probably
right.
the best
And
use of your time. For
I
sure.
think so.
Yeah,
like
of course.
why in the hell would I go get
Yeah.
I'd rather be I have this look and I have I do some TV, and in my building one day somebody's like there's a TV downstairs and I don't have cable and I was watching myself.
Yeah.
And they're like,
That's a flex.
and they're trying to like figure out if I'm that person
Right,
because
right.
again, I have this and then I have I'm not coming out.
Yeah,
I have a
yeah.
hat on. I have no
Yeah.
makeup on. I have
Yeah.
no lashes on.
Of course.
And I'm okay with that. I really don't. So I'm like, if I'm
That's
going to really
real.
go out and have a date, like, am I really going to take the time to? I'm going to do some interviewing. But that was a lesson I had to learn from dating too.
Mm-hmm.
Is that I. On paper and was more successful, and so I felt like I had to pay for everything.
Yeah.
So I'm
So you would go on dates and pay?
no, but I did it in my relationship.
Oh, okay.
And there was times that I was dating, and then after a while, I'm like, I kind of felt bad because
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, man, I'm like, I could buy groceries this week,
Sure.
or I could pick this up, and I didn't quite know what to do with that. And then
And I'm sure guys feel a certain way too.
yeah,
Again, because feminine and masculine energy is such a difficult thing to
It is.
turn on and off and navigate, and
it really is. And then
I don't know if men are as aware. Like I'm super aware of feminine and masculine energy, like within myself. Also, like I'm very, I think, in tune with that. I don't think most men are. I think they see that as a weakness, where like, and self included, like I'm pride
society
myself.
it makes it that way.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And traditional values versus, like it's,
Oh, yeah.
it's a tough balance.
But I made the decision I've been single now for 10 years. That's crazy to say. Unmarried for 10 years, we'll say. There's been relationships in there. But I made a decision about 7 years ago that I'm like, I'm never paying for dinner again. I'm never, And it
And
was
that's why, like, to
so
me,
weird.
yeah.
It was a weird thing, when you're trying to rewire something, like it feels really weird. And this is anything in life. And I'm like, gosh.
But uncomfortable's good, right?
Oh, it was
Like, that's
so
growth.
it was so weird. And now I'm like I lose all respect for any man that doesn't want to pay.
Yeah.
Because I'm like this should be an innate thing that you at least want to. I don't know. So
What about you driving? with a man in the passenger seat.
See, I don't like that either.
Me neither. I think
There's
it's
like
hysterical.
these little tiny things that I'm like
I know people married couples that every time I see them, the wife's driving. I'm like, that is so weird.
That's so fucking weird. That's so weird. And like I want the door open.
Yeah.
And it's interesting being up in New York. There's just something about like the men get it here. Like I feel so safe here. Even just like just the guys that are out front of the hotel.
Totally,
like they're like I feel like they're watching me. They're watching out for me.
Yeah.
And that's
you kind of have to. It's a little bit of a jungle.
Yeah. But even if I think we're not in the city, I think you guys are just whether it's that's the way that you're brought up. You can feel it in the presence that they're right. And I even feel myself like it's almost like I get weaker, like I can't even open the door. Like I was trying to push the door, and it's just like I just like melt into, and I'm like, wow, this is so nice.
Yeah, I think
this is so nice that I don't have to be like swivel on my head and all.
It's so funny.
Cocked up.
People would totally think that you would say that about Charlotte. Where you feel super safe, and then come to New York and feel like you're about to get robbed.
No, not at all.
So,
Charlotte, I would think that the men aren't like they are here.
Less like masculine energy-ish?
Yes. Yeah, 1,000%, 100,000%. So there's just things that I've had to get used to, and now I'm like, there's no way I would reach for the bell.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no way.
Yeah,
and I understood probably when I said was I really being a good wife? I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was in my early 20s.
Most don't,
I had no idea.
Yeah, but I completely that still resonates because it's constant work. Like anything else.
Yeah,
in life.
and then what happens when you're in a relationship and you decide that and you've evolved.
Totally.
Because people like you and I, we constantly have access to new information.
Yeah.
And that's partly because we look for it too.
Yes.
And I feel like this is something that's not talked about enough, is we don't change our mind a lot, right? We're pretty steadfast, but we're not afraid to change our mind too.
Yeah.
So when you're in a relationship and you're evolving, and what happens if I'm married to somebody and I was paying and I'm like, I don't want to pay anymore.
Yeah, totally. Things change, and that's why the divorce rate is where it is.
Yeah.
Right?
So to pick a partner where you can have those conversations, and
it's the only way it works.
You can grow together.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because we will keep growing.
Yeah.
And where can everybody find you?
Yeah. Kristy_Kuhl on all the social media, and KristyKuhl.com is my website.
Amazing.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me. This is, like I said, long overdue. I said that on the Instagram that I shot right before this.
Yeah.
I'm super happy to meet you in person. This was great.
Likewise. Looking forward to developing a stronger relationship.
I just want to have peace. Pay for the bill, let them take my card, never see the receipt. Good health, we prize, but everybody around prosperity. I just want to have peace.